Welcome to our community, our money, the entrepreneur in you. My name is Germaine Washington, and I'm your host. For today's show, we will be speaking with Jasmin Augustin, entrepreneur and founder of Media Jasmin, which is a full-service social media management and coaching agency. Jasmin focuses on helping entrepreneurs and small businesses turn followers into dollars through psychology-based selling strategies. Welcome, Jasmin.
Thank you so much for having me, Germaine.
So we want to jump right into your background. It's truly remarkable. Can you please tell our viewers how you decided to become an entrepreneur in the first place?
Yes, that's actually a great question because I never wanted to become an entrepreneur. So as a young girl and growing up, I pretty much rejected entrepreneurship and I wanted nothing to do with it. And that's because my dad was actually an entrepreneur and he failed a lot. I saw the ups and the downs and all of the challenges. And I said, I don't want anything to do with that. That doesn't look like a good time. So about 9 years ago, I became an entrepreneur with my now husband, and we started our first business. And really, we got into it pretty clueless. We didn't know what we were doing. We were in an industry where neither of us really had much experience. And on paper, the business looked like it was successful, but we were miserable. And from there, though, we learned a lot about ourselves and about following our passions in entrepreneurship. And that's led us to where I am today.
I mean, that is such an interesting story. I mean, so your dad failed at a lot of his businesses and you saw the ups and the downs and the good times and the bad times. And so did you say to yourself, how did you actually fall into it? Like you were in college and you decided, oh, let's start this?
All the way from as far as I can remember, being a little girl and then all the way through college, my dad used to say, you should really start a business. You should look into, having your own business. And I always said, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So, when someone always tells you what they think you should do and you're always like, no, don't tell me what to do. I think that's sort of how it continued on. And then when my husband and I started that first business, I think it was an itch for wanting to create something. I think we were both feeling creative and we wanted an outlet. And entrepreneurship seemed like the next step for some reason. And again, I don't know why that happened, but I'm so grateful that it did. Even through the experiences that we've had.
So your husband, when you came up with the idea, were you working like a full-time job and then you did it on the side and then decided to go full in, or how did you do both of those things at the same time? Because a lot of our entrepreneurs out there say, I'm working full-time and I don't know how to fit it in. Can you give us some background on that?
That's a really great question too. When we started that first business, I probably don't have time to go into all of the details, right? But at that time, I was working as a nanny and I have a master's in social work. So I was in between. Again, I think we just wanted an outlet for creativity and figuring out what our passions were. So I was in between jobs. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life with this degree. And it just sort of evolved from there. So I did not have a traditional job, right, per se. My husband did. He continued to have his job. And as I mentioned, that's the first business that we ever started. Currently on our third business now. Media Jasmin is our third business. And so with the different businesses, sometimes we did work full-time, or one of us worked full-time and the other worked full-time in the business, or we started part-time, and it's just always sort of changed. But I think what I would say as a suggestion for entrepreneurs is you got to figure out what works best for you, right? I think everyone's situation is different. Depends on how much money you have in savings. Can you afford to work on your business full time and quit your job? Are you at sort of a point in your business where if you would let go of that job, maybe your business would grow, right? So there's all, different levels and different places.
Those sound like a lot of factors that each of us have to consider. And it sounds like your husband and you were each other's base. of support during your initial transition into being an entrepreneur. So, okay, when you launched your business, and I'm referring to at this point, Media Jasmin, did you seek out investors? Did you use your savings? Did you do it like paycheck to paycheck until it built up? Give us an idea, because a lot of people feel that they don't have enough funds. How did you do that?
So with Media Jasmin, I actually started the business on the side about 4 years ago, and I fell in love with social media. And I said, I really want to increase my skills with social media so that I can actually turn this into a business one day. So I had a full-time job. I was working as a social worker at the time, and I just put out there into the world, and I said, I want to start to manage social media for a brand. And I started working with a really great company in Houston, and was with them for 4 years, just part-time on the side. And once my daughter was born, she's 2.5 now, I didn't want to go back to work. And I said, okay, I'm going to pursue Media Jasmin and growing that. So for the past 2.5 years, it's been very successful. I've been working it full time. I did not seek out any investments. So since I had been working part-time, all of that money that I was just paid every month on the side from this company, I just sort of saved it. I just sort of, kept it and started building that up. So then when my daughter was born, I had the funds and the means to stay home with her and continue to grow Media Jasmin.
That's a wonderful story. So you did it by little and grew it with your own money. So what advice would you give to people who want to start their business, but they need that little push to step out on faith?
Yes. So I think that if you've been thinking about your business for quite some time and it keeps coming back to you, it's probably the right thing to do. I think also following your passion. What would you do for free, right? And still do it every single day and still love it so much. I think those are the little things that are important to pay attention to when it comes to business. With the digital world that we live in, we can all turn those hobbies and those passions into a business if we just listen to ourselves and trust ourselves.
And then before we go to break, quickly tell our audience, what are some of the projects you've gotten to work on with Media Jasmin? Just tell us about some of the people that you had a chance to work with. Is it companies? Is it individuals? Give us a little bit about that.
I absolutely love everyone who I've had the opportunity to work with. I've worked with some really great brands here in Houston. And I also love teaching and talking about social media. So even just being here with you today, speaking for SCORE and HCC, I just really appreciate the opportunity to network and connect with others.
Okay, thank you. We're going to continue this conversation. When we return from our break, we will continue our conversation with Jasmin Augustin, who will tell us more about her successful company. The Entrepreneurial Initiatives Department has many resources and trainings, and the Entrepreneurial Initiatives Department is who brings us this show every month. And they have resources and trainings to help entrepreneurs reach their goals. Visit our website at hccs.edu/small business for more information. We have a new calendar that we have just uploaded, and it details all of our upcoming events and other information that is designed to help small business owners. We'll be right back.
$150/90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life. Lowering them could save you from having a stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
The faculty at HCC represents the best of Houston. Whether your goal is a 4-year college, a better job, or a whole new career,
come learn with us.
HCC, for everyone, anytime, anyway.
Welcome back to Our Community, Our Money, the Entrepreneur in You. I would like to welcome back Jasmin to the show. Welcome back, Jasmin.
Thank you, Germaine.
Tell me about your role as founder of Media Jasmin. And do you have other staff or partners? Do you have to do all of it yourself? Do you have other people doing some of the work? Give us a little bit of a rundown.
So as I mentioned before, when I first started the business, I was just doing this part-time. I think it's really important actually for all entrepreneurs and business owners to think about at a certain point, where can I start to outsource some of the tasks that I'm doing so that I can actually continue to grow my business. So I have 2 account managers and an assistant that works with me. And my primary role with Media Jasmin is strategy. So every time a potential customer comes to us, I have a free consultation with them, and we talk about what are their needs, what platforms do they want to be on, where are they in their business, where they feel that they need some help with their social media. And from there, I create customized packages for their goals and for their needs, and then they get the opportunity to choose which package works best for them. Then an account manager is assigned to them, and then I help that account manager to ensure that we're creating the right strategies and the right tasks are put in place to really help that client reach the goals that they've set out to achieve.
Wow, that's very interesting how you have set that up. I really like that. So, what type of clients do you typically seek for your services? Are you looking to help the average person who may want to sell online? Are you more interested in helping big brands? Are you interested in, what is your specialization when it comes to picking out clients? How do you choose?
Sure. So we actually have, I would say, 2 divisions of Media Jasmin. The first is the full service social media management, where we take over on the client's behalf and we manage their social media strategy for them. The other division is coaching. So I do have some clients who I'll have that conversation with them, and they may not be in the point where they're ready to outsource their social media, but they still want some help. So with them, I'm actually able to do private coaching with them and guide them and teach them what I would do if I was their social media manager, and really set them up with a plan. So when I'm talking with potential customers, I'm really trying to figure out which division is best for them in their situation. And we have a wide range of industries. I mean, we've worked with probably over 30 industries between the management and coaching, and with different sizes. So I've worked with solopreneurs who are in a place in their business where they do have the budget and they're ready to outsource for social media management. And then we actually just brought on a client a couple months ago, and they have about 50 employees nationwide. So it really varies. It really depends. I try to work with people's budgets and with their needs. And of course, if we're not able to help them, I do have some great resources to refer to them as well.
That is very interesting. So sometimes you just take over their social media yourself and you're uploading the content yourself. And have you ever had any situations where you may have ever uploaded something they didn't want uploaded, or they try to tell you what to do, or things like that? Have you had run into any clients? You don't have to name names, of course, but have you ever run into anything like that in your career?
Definitely. I mean, we're all human. We all make mistakes. We try to have checks and balances in place where I go behind the account managers actually every single day, make sure that everything's being done properly. But of course, there's always situations. It's technology. So sometimes there's a glitch and something will post twice instead of once. Or, hey, there was a grammatical error that we didn't catch, or the link isn't working, just things that happen. So of course, those errors happen. But I find that we're pretty on top of it since we're all on our social media all day long. So we're always catching those mistakes pretty quickly.
Give me a success story. You don't have to name names again, but how did you, can you give us an example of how you've taken like maybe someone who had a lower amount of followers to like what number have you been able to help them grow to? I mean, I think we're interested in knowing about that.
So one of our biggest success stories is with a medical clinic client that we were working with. We worked with them for about 8 months or so. And it was actually, we started working with them right at the tail end of 2019. So we were with them in 2020 when COVID first hit. And so when we started working with this client, they were seeing on average 5 to 10 patients per day walking into their medical clinic. At the end of our contract with them, they were seeing between 100 and 150 patients per day, which is just a great testament to the social media work. And right when COVID did hit, they did have to close, I think, for a couple of weeks. So we were able to do that even with COVID happening as well.
Okay, that's COVID. It came in and wiped out a lot of businesses. And we're going to get to that in our last segment about how you managed through that. What are some typical mistakes that people make on social media? Because I think everyone think they know about what to do. And I'm just curious as to what your thoughts are of some typical mistakes that we out there are making.
Yeah, that's a really great question. I would say consistency is one thing that I think people make a big mistake with for their social media. I always tell everyone, find what works for you and try to be consistent with that. So if posting every single day is consistency for you, that's great. But if posting 2 times a week is consistency for you, that's great too. But really just try to find what works for you and don't try to copy others, because you might see what they're doing and it might not even actually be working for them, but you don't know, right? So that's one thing that I always suggest. And I think the second thing is all the social media platforms are different. They all have sort of their own characteristics and their own personalities, different sorts of features. So one mistake that I see happening a lot is resharing the exact same content to each platform without editing it to fit that platform. And I'll give an example. So on Instagram, links do not work in the caption. So if you had that exact same caption with a link in it on Facebook, it would work. But if you just copied and pasted that to Instagram, that link will not work. So that's a big mistake. So you just want to make sure that if you are using the same content, just edit it so that it fits for each platform individually.
Very, very, very interesting. We're going to continue with this conversation after our break. But I just want to remind all of you out there that the Entrepreneurial Initiatives Department has so many areas under its department to reach students and entrepreneurs. There are just a multitude of opportunities and resources available for small business owners through the Entrepreneurial Department. And you can find out all about it, again, by going to our website at hccs.edu/smallbusiness. We'll be right back.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Being prepared is a part of who you are. But it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you'll go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
I love teaching at HCC. I love helping students.
With college credits.
With scholarships and financial aid.
Training them for life-changing careers.
Come learn with us. HCC, for everyone, anytime, anyway.
Welcome back again, everyone. In this segment, we will continue our conversation with Jasmin about her entrepreneurial career and how she made it so successful when so many other businesses fail. And before we do get into that type of questions, I want to ask you, Jasmin, how can prospective clients reach you to do business? We want everyone out there to be able to contact you for their social media needs. How can we get in contact with you?
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. My website is mediajasmin.com. It's mediajasmin.com. And you can also reach me via email, jasmin@mediajasmin.com. And just don't forget, don't put an E at the end of my name. So it's Jasmin.
And I'm assuming you're on social media as well, Facebook and Instagram.
Of course.
So can you give out your Facebook and Instagram? So in case people want to follow you, are you giving out free tips on your page?
Yes, I give out tons of free tips on my page, especially on Instagram. So you can find me on both Facebook and Instagram at Media Jasmin.
What do you think are the critical steps that you took that helped your business thrive when so many others failed?
I would say being intentional is very important for me, and also being disciplined. And disciplined in all areas of life, not just in business. I think that discipline translates when you do it in one place in your life, it'll translate over into other areas as well. So whether that's, if I say I'm going to wake up early, waking up early. If I say I'm going to complete a task, making sure I complete that task. So I'm just very intentional with the time that I, like my time management and the way that I build my calendar, and making sure that I do what I say I'm going to do.
So how did you get your first client to trust you? Okay, because it's always easy once you have a client base built up and you have experience that you can show clients how you helped other clients, and you use that to keep getting more clients. But how did you get your first client to trust you, pay you that fee, and believe in you?
I actually don't know the answer to that. I don't even know why they hired me, to be honest. I walked in there and had a conversation with them. I didn't have packages. I didn't have a website. I mean, I didn't have anything. And when I actually created the packages and came back to them and told them, what the options were, they chose the highest one. And to this day, I almost told them, never mind. I almost told them that I wasn't right to work with them, and they chose the highest package. So I don't even know why they did.
You don't know what it was that you said that convinced them of your greatness in this particular area, but they believed in you. And so was this a successful campaign that ready for this particular client?
Yeah.
Okay, that's truly amazing. I always like to know, how do you get that first client to believe in you when you're such a new business and you have no history of doing something to fall back on? So how has your business been affected by the pandemic? And what did you do during that operation? I know you're online, so I'm assuming it could have affected it in a good way, but you tell me.
So it definitely impacted us, I think, both positively and negatively, as you mentioned. Initially, when everything first shut down, it impacted us because of the clients. And what I mean by that is the industries that they were in. So for example, right at that time, we had a hair salon, the medical clinic. So there were places where everyone had to shut down, and people were calling me, Jasmin, I have to close, and I don't know how long we're going to be closed for. So, we have contracts in place, and I said, I get it. It's fine. It's not even a problem. I totally understand. It's out of everyone's control. So that sort of impacted us negatively in the beginning. And then I sat back and I said to myself, how can I help entrepreneurs who I love working with? How can I help them during this strange time and help them to work on their social media skills while we're all here in limbo, not really knowing what's going on? And so I started doing free webinars where I said, anyone can join. I just want to share about how to grow your brand and your business on social media. And I had, I think, over 100 people join on the first one. And I just wanted to give information. I just wanted to help people during that time. And then after a couple of months, when things started to kind of level out a little bit, business increased for us because people said, I need to learn how to get on social media. I need help. So we actually had a huge boost. I would say the second half of the year, it was really great for us.
So a lot of people who have companies like hair salons and things like that, their only business, you have to be interacting with people. So they were shut down, of course. But some businesses, like you said, have transitioned online, like us, Houston Community College. We have definitely had to go online and learn how to do everything, including myself, who's used to doing everything the old school way. But what type of businesses were you able to help transition themselves from the traditional, maybe mom and pop or brick and mortar to online, and how have they thrived, because the online world is so huge?
Absolutely. So I actually helped Baker Ripley. I'm sure you're familiar with Baker Ripley. They started a food entrepreneur program during COVID, and they were helping food entrepreneurs and how to continue to grow their businesses during this time. And so they asked me to come on as a presenter during a couple of the programs. And the things that I suggested for these food businesses was, if you can find ways to take what you do, which is create delicious food, and make people or have people have the opportunity to see your food or to experience your food through the phones. Right? So it could be an online cooking class where everyone is, cooking at their homes, but you as the food entrepreneur, you're the one leading that class, right? On Instagram Live or on Zoom. There was also a baker, and I suggested to her, I said, can you come up with kits where you essentially supply all of the supplies to make cookies? And everyone who wants to participate in your cooking class, if they're local, you can send them or deliver to them the kit. So then during the class, they already have all of the ingredients and all of the supplies to participate. So those were some suggestions that I gave, where if you can just take what you're already doing, but find ways to transition it, or at least include people who are online, so that you don't have to stop what you do and what you love.
That is very amazing that you were able to take something that is unique to just having that business and make a creative change that helps people still make money and earn. That's great. So what projects do you have coming up that you want to tell us about? You have anything new, anything exciting coming up right now, or anything new and different that you're going to be doing within your company?
Absolutely. I'm always innovating and always thinking of new ideas. What I absolutely love, and I started this during 2020 because of COVID, was my group coaching. So a lot of entrepreneurs were coming and saying, teach me how to do these things. I need to build my business online. So I developed a group coaching class. I did it 4 times in 2020, which totally wore me out. I loved it. I just kept going. And my husband was like, are you going to keep going? I was like, I'm loving it, but it was very exhausting. And so in 2021, I'm doing it twice for this year. And so the next one will be probably in quarter 4 or 3, closer towards the end of the year. So I'm really excited about that. So we'll have to stay tuned.
Thank you so much, Jasmin, for being my guest today and telling us about your company. And as always, I would like to share a motivational tip for our entrepreneurs. Success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. And that's from Marie Forleo. So until next time, thanks for watching Our Community, Our Money, the Entrepreneur in You.